Hey guys, welcome back. It's me, Sahil Mahajan, and in today's video, we'll be taking a look into Amazon Kinesis data streams. So let's dive right into today's video. So firstly, we're going to be talking about what is Amazon Kinesis data streams. Amazon Kinesis data streams is a real-time, fully managed data streaming service that enables large-scale data ingestion and processing. So basically, it's a fully managed service. It provides real-time ingestion of data. This is normally streaming data that you have that can be ingested into Kinesis data streams. You can collect, process, and analyze real-time streaming data for actionable insights. We'll talk more about some use cases about real-time streaming data and some more about actionable insights. Amazon Kinesis data streams has high throughput and low latency when you are ingesting streaming data. Moving on, we're going to talk about a couple of features related to Amazon Kinesis data streams. First, of course, being it is real-time data processing, so you can ingest and analyze streaming data in real time. It is scalable and elastic. It can automatically scale it when you are using the on-demand mode to handle fluctuating workloads. We will be talking more about on-demand in a couple of minutes. And the third feature is it has a customizable data retention period. That is, the data that you ingest into Amazon Kinesis can be retained anywhere from 24 hours to 365 days. That is 1 year. Moving on, let's talk a bit about the core concepts and components of Amazon data, Kinesis data streams. There are three core concepts related to Kinesis data stream. The first being producers. Producers is basically applications or devices that will be ingesting data into Kinesis. So this application could be web servers, or devices could be IoT devices wherein they are collecting metrics in real time and ingesting this data into Kinesis. Second is going to be consumers. So now all of this data that your producers has produced, you ingested into Kinesis. So you need some consumers which will basically consume or read this data from Kinesis and then perform some analysis or do some processing on this data. And the third is called shards. This is basically the fundamental units of capacity in the Kinesis data stream. So when you create a stream, you will be creating shards in the stream, and the data is basically put into the shard. So moving on, now we're going to basically speak more or understand more about shards, because understanding shards is really crucial when it comes to Amazon Kinesis data stream. So basically a shard is where the data is put into a shard and read from a shard. So a shard basically provides you 1 MB per second for write. That is, you can ingest up to 1 MB per second, and you can read up to 2 MB from 2 MB per second from shard. So each Kinesis stream can have multiple shards or also a single shard. So if you have one shard, your stream allows a maximum of 1 MB of writes, that is ingestion of data. Now let's take, for example, you have a Kinesis data stream that has 10 shards, which basically means you have 10 MB per second of writes. That is, you can ingest a maximum of 10 MB per second. Coming to a couple of key components related to shards, there are two main key components, the first being partition key and the second being sequence number. Partition key basically determines the shard allocation. So let's take, for example, you have a user who's coming to your website and you want to track what are the things that they're clicking. We call clickstream tracking. So you would allocate a specific partition key to that user so that all of its clicks go to a specific shard and they are not distributed across multiple shards. So we're keeping that data the same and sending it to just one shard, so it's easily to perform analysis or to process that data. And then the second key component is sequence number, wherein the sequence number just basically identifies each data record uniquely. So you can consider it as a unique ID or unique identifier. Now there are two modes when it comes to Kinesis data streams. The first being on demand, whereas you do not define the number of shards that you need. Amazon automatically scales out and scales in according to your workload. So for example, maybe today you are getting 10 MB per second of data has been ingested into Kinesis. So Amazon will go ahead and maybe provision about 15 shards. Of course, it's not going to provision 10 shards. It's going to provision more than 10 shards because it will anticipate that you may also go up. Now let's take at one point in time your consumption has so right now you're ingesting 10 MB per second. So Amazon like, okay, hey, let me provision 12 shards for you. But at one point in time your data ingestion goes down to 8 MB per second. So Amazon like, oh wow, your data ingestion has gone down by 2 MB per second. So instead of 12 shards, let me now provision 8 shards. So it keeps scaling in and scaling out, which of course will help you on cost reduction. And the second mode that you have is provision mode, wherein if you you can pre-provision a couple of shards. You can say that, hey, I'm pretty sure that I'm always going to get 80 MB per second data into my Kinesis stream, so I'm going to go ahead and pre-provision 100 shards so I can ingest a max of 100 MB per second. Over here your scaling is completely manual, so that in the scenario that you are coming close to your provision limit, you would have to go into the console or through your CloudFormation stack, or however you're looking to update it, go and manually update that shard number. Let's talk a bit about producers and consumers. We did give you a small glimpse about what producers and consumers are, but we're just gonna take a couple of examples. So producers, are those application servers or devices that produce logs or insights. So this could be like servers, applications, could be web services, anything like that, or IoT devices. And your consumers are the one that read data from those Kinesis streams or from those shards. This could be like it could be anything. It could be AWS Lambda, it could be Kinesis data analytics, it could be Amazon EMR, or it could be any other application that you wish to read that can read from the shards. Moving on, we have a concept that is called enhanced fan out. Again, this concept is not really important for a basic overview, but I have mentioned it over here because sometimes you may come across this, but from a basic overview level, this is really not that important. So basically, enhanced fan out is generally used when you have multiple consumers. So anywhere, if anyone asks you a question, or you are given an interview, or you're given an exam, and you have a question wherein that you want to improve the performance of the consumers of Kinesis, your answer is going to be enhanced fan out. So again, enhanced fan out is only used when you have multiple consumers for one Kinesis data stream. So you can see it allows multiple consumers to read data from the same shard simultaneously. So normally what happens is if you do not have enhanced fan out implemented, only one consumer can read from one shard at a time. So for example, if you have 3 shards and consumer 1 is reading from shard 1, then consumer 2 will not be able to read from shard 1. So that's where enhanced fan out, if you have enhanced fan out implemented, both consumer 1 and consumer 2 can read from shard 1 simultaneously. Point number 2 is it improves your read throughput up to 2 MB per second per consumer. Now, if enhanced fan out is not implemented, all of the consumers, the 2 MB per second that you have per shard is distributed. But when you have enhanced fan out implemented, each consumer gets up to 2 MB throughput. And enhanced fan out is basically ideal for parallel processing workloads. That is when you have multiple consumers. Now we're going to talk about scaling in Kinesis. We did, I did throw you some brief overview regarding the modes that you have, the on-demand and provision. It's pretty much the same. You have scaling out, wherein you add more shards to increase the throughput, or you have scale in, wherein you remove the shards for optimizing your costs. Now both, of course, manual and automatic scaling is available for Kinesis data streams. Manual scaling means that you have chosen the provision mode, and automatic scaling is wherein you have chosen the on-demand mode. Now, data retention, again, we did speak about data retention, but let's once again take a look into it. By default, whenever you create a Kinesis stream, your data retention will be for 24 hours. Now, this data retention is configurable, and you can have your data retained for up to 365 days. That is 1 year. Now, having this data retention policy is really awesome because it allows you to reprocess data or process data in a delayed manner. So if you have any use case wherein you need to reprocess data because something failed, or you need to process data in a delayed manner, then this retention period is very, very useful. Let's dive a bit into security and encryption. Kinesis does support server-side encryption. All the data is encrypted at rest and in transit. So any data that you send to Kinesis or you read from Kinesis that is in transit is encrypted. And of course, as all other services you have in AWS, IAM policies can be implemented to control access to your Kinesis data streams. We'll quickly glance over how basically Kinesis data stream work. So step number 1 is data ingestion. You need to ingest data into a Kinesis stream. So basically applications like web servers or web services, or you have IoT devices, will ingest data into your Kinesis data stream. Then you have step number 2, where is your data processing, wherein you're a consumer and you are reading data from this Kinesis data stream. It could basically be AWS Lambda, it could be Kinesis data analytics, or any other consumer application that you have that wants to read data from Amazon Kinesis data streams. Step number 3 and step number 4 is completely optional, but normally you have data storage wherein you can store all of this data into S3, Redshift, or DynamoDB for long-term use. Again, if you have a lower retention period in your Kinesis, you can easily store this data into any one of these 3 or other storages for long-term use. And step number 4, of course, data analytics. You can perform real-time analysis on that data that you have that has been ingested into Kinesis. You can either use Amazon OpenSearch, Athena, or QuickSight. Now, finally, we're going to talk about a couple of use cases for Amazon Kinesis Stream. You have log and event monitoring. You can ingest a lot of logs and events into Kinesis, and you can monitor them through your downstream consumer applications. This is one example that we spoke about, which is clickstream analytics, wherein you can see what your user is basically clicking at or doing. Then number 3 is fraud detection and security analysis. You can again use Kinesis for a lot of fraud detection and security analysis use cases. Number 4 is IoT data processing. Again, IoT devices collect a lot of data, so you can ingest that data into Kinesis, and then you can have consumers read that data and process it. And finally, the last point is real-time data ingestion for machine learning. So you can ingest data in real time, and then that data could be used to train your machine learning models. So this was a really quick overview related to Amazon Kinesis. I tried my best to provide you as much information as possible. This is all essential information that one must know related to Amazon Kinesis data streams. Now, in the next video, we will be diving into a demo related to Amazon Kinesis data stream that will give you even more clarity on all of the concepts that we covered over here. So I hope you guys did like this video. If you did, please make sure to leave a like. Do subscribe and do comment if there are any other topics out there that you guys would like me to cover. I hope you guys have a great day ahead. See ya. Take care. Bye-bye.